All right, so today's lesson, it's the last form we have to learn for quadratics. It's called factored form, and it's still in 2.1.2. We spent some time in this first lesson of Unit 2 just to make sure we're good with graphing as well. So, don't work too hard to write down everything. You can kind of just jot down to this primary factored form. This formula is the one we're going to use. Think of it as a map. It tells you where to look for your different values. And today we're going to try to avoid confusion and the hard parts here, which may seem like, well, how do I find what P and Q is? Q are, based on the sign. That might be the trickiest part. But taking a step back, what's really good about this, and it's new because we haven't had to do this yet, it allows us to find the x-intercepts. So before we were finding the y-intercept in the vertex, we could find the other point, and we graph that. We're still graphing these shapes. We're still graphing parabolas. But in this case, what we're going to be able to do is we're going to find the x-intercepts. So I'll just make a simple graph here. We're going to find these x-intercepts first. What that'll allow us to do is work from there, finding a vertex, and then we're able to graph it. So really there's two steps. Some of the stuff we're going to learn is very similar. It's the same as last week and this week. So let's hold back going into this map, this formula for a second. One thing that is exactly the same that we've done before is we know based on the A value, it's going to open up or down. So if A is positive, happy face, it opens up. If A is negative, sad face, it opens down, just like so. Let's go over here and look at this problem. This is going to be the example problem. We're going to work each step through. What is my A value? Where do I look for my A value? Where is it located looking at the map here? Where do I find it? It doesn't have to be perfect. Math speak. Yeah, Jason, you have an idea?
On the example.
Yeah, so in the example, what's my A? Negative 1. I know my A value is in front of this first expression. It's out in front. A is generally out in front with all the other forms we've also looked at. So I know that A is negative 1, so happy or sad? Negative 1?
Sad.
Almost sounds like you're not sure about that. Sad. When it's negative, it's sad. When it's positive, it's happy. That's how we're going to find that every time. Okay. So right off the bat, I know that it opens down. It's sad face. So the next step is to find these x-intercepts. We find the x-intercepts. Then we'll just have to find the vertex. We're done. Okay. Let's look at this now. If I have, get rid of that. So think about this. These x-intercepts occur where y is equal to 0. Remember, f of x is just function notation for aka y. So it's when y is equal to 0. So think about this. If I'm at y is equal to 5 up here, see the 5? It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. At y is equal to 0, what's the marker landing on here? My x-axis. Okay, so what I'm interested in is really finding my zeros. Finding my zeros because when y is equal to 0, I'm going to get some x value that's going to give me my two x-intercepts. So let's just see how that actually works out, how we approach and solve this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this expression just like in the warm-up. I'm going to make it equal to 0. I'm going to take this. I'm going to make it equal to 0. That's the next step. So that's step 2 here. We're going to find P and Q, and this is like training wheels. Once you get this going, you'll be able to, deductively figure it out pretty quick. So don't worry. Let's use this until we don't need to. Keep using this if you want forever. But I think you'll start to make some shortcut kind of choices moving forward. So, all right, let's do this. Plus 2, plus 2. X is 2. All right. Plus 8, x is 8. Can somebody tell me kind of the shortcut where they don't have to do this part right here. What's the shortcut that they can explain clearly for the video? So how did we pull this down, make it equal to 0? And then how do we just go right to knowing, well, it's going to be 2. Oh, I know, that's going to be 8. Is anybody getting the click yet? See how that happens? Yeah. You got it? Okay, so what's like a shortcut? You can just think it out. Just verbalize it.
Like reverse the number.
Reverse the number.
Times.
Right.
Same thing. Like if you reverse a -2, then it's a +2.
Great. Okay. So what you're saying is, in order for this right here to equal 0, if I have a -2, x has to be +2 for them to combine to give me 0. Excellent. If I have x minus 8, x has to be +8 for it to be equal to 0. Great. Okay, good. So now let's look at this. Get rid of these. Start to make a graph right here. What I just figured out with my x values, these two x values, I'm going to put on my x-axis. So some of you are going to be able to look right here and just say, oh, I know my x-intercepts are going to be 2 and 8. You can throw those on there. This form allows us to go even a more direct route towards finding our graph. Okay, so far so good. We know if it's up or down. We know that our x-intercepts are at these points by making them equal to 0, each expression. Step 3 is to find the vertex. But before I do that, I want to ask you a question. All right, so just imagine that this is going to be a parabola, right? Tell me where the axis of symmetry is going to be as I go through it. Is the axis going to be way out here? Is it going to be just inside? Is it going to be right there, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's exactly where it breaks that exactly in half. We know that these 2 points right here have to be the same distance from that line, and that looks like it's right. So really what we're doing here to find where the vertex is going to be, because the vertex will be up at the top somewhere along this axis of symmetry, because you know it's right in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the average between 2 and 8. We're going to take the average and find what's in the middle. So let's look at that and how that's going to work out if I'm finding my vertex. There's an x, there's a y. There's an x, there's a y part. Good. First off, right off the bat, I'm going to use this x is equal to p plus q over 2. And remember, those p and q are just denoted by our x values we just figured out. So, in fact, I am going to erase this because I don't think that's prereq information to know that I need to take my x's, I need to add them together, I need to divide by 2. You take your x values to find the average between them, you add them, you divide by 2. All right, what do we get? 5. Great, got my 5. How would I find my y value if I know my x is equal to 5? Plug it in. So I'm going to take my original equation and plug in for 5. Okay, I just substituted 5. Function notation just reminds us what we plugged in for 5 for x. We plugged in 5 for x, so I put a 5 everywhere there was an x. Next. Okay, so far so good. Just combine terms, combine terms. And -3 times -3 is +9. So I just found, whoa. My favorite song, how'd you know? All right, so I just figured out my vertex. How did I do that? I found the average between my x values. I then plugged in that value for x substituted in, found my y value. So now I know my vertex. I know my two x-intercepts. So I have to plot this vertex. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're at about here. All right, I have 3 points. Do I need to find any more points in order to draw my parabola? Just like before, we'd find 3 points and we can mark the parabola right off the bat. You agree? Done. So let's look real quick how we did this. First I look at my a value. I know it's negative, so it's going to face down. Check, it's done. I'm going to take each expression, make them equal to 0 and solve. I get 8 and 2. I put that right on the graph. I bring to the graph at the x-intercepts at 2 and at 8. Then I look to solve my vertex. I know that the vertex x value is going to be right in the middle. So I add them together and then divide by 2. I get my x value for the vertex. Put it there so you don't forget. To find the y, we just plugged in 5, which was my x value. I plugged in 5 everywhere there was an x, solved it out. So I know my y value for the vertex is 9. Okay, we graphed that vertex and I would label it. Label it 5, 9. We have 3 points then with the vertex and the 2 x-intercepts. Now we can make our parabola, and that's done. So I think it actually cuts out even one step from the form we learned on Monday, the vertex form. Okay, thumbs up, sideways down. How are we feeling? All right, good news. So maybe I need to do just one more. These are pretty quick, so I'll do one more, and then we'll be off and going for. Oh, nice. We'll be able to get through the classwork for sure. So go ahead and jot this one down. We're going to do the same steps. F of x is equal to 4 times x plus 2, x minus 4. All right. Okay, so let's work on this together. First step. Figure out, does this open up or down? Is it happy face, sad face? What do we see?
Happy.
And we know that because A is?
Positive.
Because A is positive, we know that it's a happy face. So it's going to open up. At the very bottom will be the minimum. It's going to open up. All right, next step. Next step is to find our x-intercepts. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take x plus 2, make it equal to 0. I'm going to take x minus 4, make it equal to 0. So what plus 2 is 0? How about negative 2? What minus 4 gives us 0? 4. You could work it out algebraically, or you can just do that. Right. So here's going to be where we're going to graph this. It's going to open up, so we're good. For x, I'm going to put it on there at negative 2. I'm going to also plot at 4, because I know those are my x-intercepts. And there's a bunch of x's, right? We're going through x's quite a bit. But really, every point has an x value. So we could end up with, if we wanted to find a whole bunch of points, there could be numerous x's. Isaac?
Wait, so is step 3 z or 2?
Step 3?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you know. We aren't going to have to use z's. I'm never going to use a z variable for math 2. Okay, so these are always going to be 2. Good question, it allowed me to clarify, so thank you. All right, so just looking at this, just to check our understanding of this, where is my line of symmetry going to be? Here's the 2 points. It's going to be right inside, maybe closer to the other one. It's going to be right.
There. Stop.
Right in the middle. Okay, so because it's right in the middle, that tells me that if I find the average between those 2 points, if I find the middle, the average, then I will have some information about where the vertex is. So the vertex is x and y, remember. I'm going to do the x part first, which we know in this point, with this it's going to be, let's see, -2 plus 4 divided by 2.
1.
Yeah. -2 plus 4 is +2. Divide by 2, you get 1. Now I'm this close to being done. I found the x value for my vertex. Now I have to find my y. And remember for this, if you know one variable, the answer, you can find the other by just plugging it in. So we're going to go f of 1 is equal to 4, 1 plus f of 1 is equal to 4, 1 plus 2, 1 minus 4. So this is the last step we have to do. So don't miss out on that. If you get half a point, half of a point, it's not really a point, it's just an x value. We need to know what the y is, then we're done. So we'll go 4 times, this is 3, and this is -3. +3 times the -3 is -9, times the 4, -36. All right, so what I just figured out really is my y value and my x value for this intercept. And you may be thinking, well, I don't have room to get to 36. It's okay, no big deal. I know that it's 136, so what I could do is you can make a little dash like that. Or you make that symbol. It basically tells you you're going to go a few points, you know, -1, 2, 3, and then there's this kind of warp. It warps all the way down to, oh, now we're at 30. Okay, it's a way to truncate having to do all the dashes. So I'll just go down here and I'm going to say, well, this is -36. So I have 1, -36. That's my vertex. 1, -36. 3 points. What are we ready to do? Grab it. Done. Okay. Do you all agree this is actually even more straightforward than the vertex form? What's the hardest part, do you think? Doing what?
That was better than the vertex forms.
Right, but it still has some parts we gotta remember. Maybe the steps, I heard that. So yes, the steps you'll have to get down. Remember on the quiz, you're able to have 2 practice problems. And I will be going over 1 vertex problem and 1 factored form. So with those 2 examples, I think you'll be able to address all the problems. Okay? All right, how are we feeling now? Thumbs up, sideways, down. All right, that away. Okay, so classwork. Oh, before that, I got to get more subscribers. I mean, I think I'm at like a pitiful 35.
10 of those on Malik.
And Malik has like 10 pseudonyms. That just makes me feel like famous. All right, we're going to do subscribe on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Subscribe!
That's right.